Welcome into the Bad Fan. History in the world of golf and tennis. The Premier League is in full swing with two teams leading the way by scoring massive amounts of goals. And what clubs have reason for concern already this season? Your journey with the Bad Fan begins right now. Hello and welcome in. I'm your host, Cole Carter, and I'm so glad you have tuned in with us today. As you can see, joined by my good friends and fellow hosts, Brandon Pasnick and Stephen Curl. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Brandon, we'll start with you. How you doing, and how's the weekend?
I'm doing so well. Sort of tired. My dad kept me out late last night. My dad came up from Nashville. We went and saw a lot of different music groups. We saw the best damn band in the land, the Ohio State Marching Band, perform a family and friends thing that got me in the mood for college football this weekend. And I have tickets, not to the Notre Dame Ohio State game, but I will be going down to TQL Stadium in Cincinnati and watching Charlotte lose to FC Cincinnati this weekend.
Very cool. Very cool. How far of a drive is it for you to get to Cincinnati?
An hour and a half or so. It's like 110 miles. Yeah.
That's not bad. That'll be awesome to see. Hopefully, Brendan Vasquez can stay hot against Charlotte.
He will.
Be very nice to see. Steve, good to see you once again. How about you? How you doing?
Doing quite swell. We had our fantasy football draft yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So I already got to stir up some chaos with trades right before the draft. So that's what I love to do. Don't love that I'm down on the bottom square this stream, but it's fine. But yeah, looking forward to getting into it.
Love it. You're sort of the Alex Anthopoulos of our fantasy football league. You're always making moves. Seems like you'd always be the guy on your phone. You got two phones, like Fabrizio Romano, making deals, getting the rumors going. I respect that.
I try.
A little upset you haven't sent one my way, to be honest.
There's time for that.
Yeah, there's time. Well, welcome into everybody. We're so glad that you guys have joined the Bad Fan once again. Some quick news from around the sports world. This past weekend in Atlanta, Rory has won his third PGA Tour championship, winning the FedEx Cup. Pretty amazing just to see. I got the chance to actually go there in person on Saturday. He came back from a sizable amount of strokes. Scotty Scheffler kind of threw this one away, and Rory's able to come out on top and, as I said, win this tournament for the third time, beating Tiger Woods out. He had mentioned there being a race for it, and he beat out Tiger. Tiger, in fairness, did almost die in a car wreck, but hey, awesome to see Rory come out and win the PGA Tour Championship. Some more history up in New York. Serena Williams, who had mentioned her intention to retire from the world of tennis, is now playing what could be her last major tournament up in New York at the U.S. Open. And she did kick off the tournament with a win in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see if she can go off riding into the sunset on top of the tennis world. Remains to be seen, but a little sad, kind of crazy. I mean, you guys can attest that, Venus and Serena were, tennis in the early 2000s. It's kind of crazy that we're approaching the end of that story. But that's really approach the end of her story. We're also coming up on the start of the college football season, which we hope to bring you guys a little bit of a preview upcoming on Friday's episode of the Bad Fan, talking about games like Georgia, Oregon at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and like Brandon mentioned, Ohio State, Notre Dame, some games just to kick off the season, as well as maybe our predictions for what we think the season might look like. But on the topic of soccer over the pond in England and Europe, some deals that have gone down and some rumors that have been swirling, beginning with Tottenham and Sergio Reguilon, the left back that has seemingly fallen out of favor with Antonio Conte and his starting 11, having options like Ryan Sessegnon and Ivan Perisic on the left side. And Stephen, I'll let you kind of take this one away. Is Reguilon on the way out because of his performances, or just maybe not fitting in Antonio's system?
I think the latter, not fitting in the system, and Conte being in love with Perisic, coaching him over at Inter Milan previously. However, Reguilon's performances weren't incredible. I always liked him on the field. I feel like his appeal to Spurs fans was his work rate more so than anything, and that fire, as opposed to technical ability. I still like the player, and that's why I think we're linked to a loan move. I don't think we're trying to necessarily offload this guy. I think he's 24 years old. But I like Sergio Reguilon, but it's kind of one of those things that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ryan Sessegnon all of a sudden is back in favor. Again, after Tottenham signed him, it feels like forever ago, like 3-4 years ago. So that's just the way it works sometimes. Certain coaches come in and you fall out of favor. So unfortunate to see that with Region, but yeah.
I will say this rumor, I think we got it from Fabrizio Romano, who is obviously supposed to be one of those high tier people working in the world of soccer, but he is a Real Madrid like academy kid. So it'd be kind of hard for me to see this one. But again, if he's desperate for playing time, it's kind of hard to be choosy when you're just trying to get some starting time, and especially if he's trying to make the World Cup. Obviously, there's some guys in Spain that are ahead of him. I think Jordi Alba, and I can't remember. There's probably one other guy, but they're all older. So I mean, Cucurella at this point. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Sergio Region. But Brandon, what other kind of moves are we seeing swirling around in the transfer world?
Yeah, Lucas Paqueta did finally get that move from Lyon to West Ham for £36.7 million. Again, great signing for them. Nottingham Forest, yes, they signed their 17th player of the summer, not on a permanent transfer, but on a loan with an option to buy of £25 million. Renan Lodi? I don't know. Left back from Atletico Madrid. He's young. I think he's only 24. So, sort of like a trial period for him if he's not getting looks in Atletico Madrid. Why not go to Nottingham Forest, who, again, has signed a completely new team for the Premier League season.
14 players now, it seems, huh? Oh, no, you said 17
17. 17th player. It's insane. And I don't know if they're done. We'll see. But we'll definitely keep you updated.
Pockets.
Yes. And I'll leave this one to you, Cole, but I think Chelsea finally got someone that they've been working on for forever now.
Which is strange because it sort of correlates. He was on the bench this past weekend as Leicester City played Chelsea to the tune of a 2-0 loss, I think it was. And yeah, talking about Wesley Fofana, the center back for Leicester, the young guy, has been out of the starting 11 for the past 2-3 games. And Brendan Rodgers pretty much is having no choice at this point but to keep him on the bench as he doesn't want to be playing for Leicester anymore. And yeah, it seems as though this one's finally coming to the finish line for the tune of £70 million. That is a hefty price.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I would probably imagine that being only behind Harry Maguire's deal coming from Leicester City to Man U, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, a big deal. Wesley Fofana. Do you guys really think he's worth that price tag at this point?
Well, didn't he also just come off a very serious injury as well? Does Chelsea know the player they're getting? This guy hasn't strung together a full season since a year or two ago. So they paid $70 million. I don't know. If you're Chelsea, you like the signing because you're doing something. You're addressing a position that you actually need, and you're not linked to, insert winger here. So, you're excited about it. If you're a Chelsea fan, you might be a little bit weary, but honestly, why not? Sure. Wesley Fofana.
Brandon, what do you think?
I know he's touted as one of the best center backs in the world. But yeah, you're right, Steve. Coming off, I don't know if it was a season-long injury, but it was very, very serious. He actually got I can't remember, but he got an extension while he was, or a new contract maybe while he was injured for Leicester just last year. And then all of a sudden, he's like, actually, I'm good. I don't want to be here. I just think that's a weird, oh my God, a weird sports thing where I guess the player has all the power in this situation, even though they just signed a long-term deal for what I assume is a lot of money. And
I'm sure Leicester City not going out and making any signings hasn't really helped him wanting to stay at the club either.
Yeah, definitely not that either. So $70 million, is he worth it? I don't know if many players are worth that price, to be completely honest. Definitely not a center back, but he's one for the future. He's young. I think he's still only 23. So we'll see how it pays off.
This is a question out of left field. Sort of speaking about those players and their ambitions and the control they might have over a club or team, sort of feels like the Kevin Durant situation. He said, I want a trade request out of Brooklyn, even though he's the one that committed and signed that big contract. Should players be held more accountable to their contracts that they're signing, or should they be given that power to have over these front offices and clubs? What do you guys think?
I mean, you're seeing it right now with Mbappe at PSG, right? Like, this guy he reminds me of Thomas Shelby from, honestly, like the way his influence has in his contract. There's even stipulations about him taking penalty kicks, is the rumor. And like, when it comes to that, it's, as a club, like, you have to be bigger than the player. Like, you have to be careful how you tread that line. You're watching it right now with Manchester United. It's the club has to be bigger than the player. And if you're the club, don't offer the contract if you're not confident on it. That's on you. I tend to err on the side of the players in this regard. If you're offering these contracts to lock these players up and stuff like that to play for your squad, it's then owed to you to put them in the best environment to thrive. And if you don't, then, and you're in the sports agency world, like, you shouldn't be surprised. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example to where, the player should just listen to the club or play for the club. Like, even thinking about the Ousmane Dembele drama over the summer with Barcelona, they ended up working out, and now he's getting ovations at the Camp Nou. So I don't know. It's weird, right? So if you're a player and you sign a contract, you better show up and show out for your team. And if you're a club, don't be surprised if you're dealing with egos in professional sports.
Go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was just going to say, I don't really know what the point of contracts are anymore. People might as well just sign like 1 year or 2 year deals with a player option, because they don't really hold much value anymore, other than the idea of if you did just sign someone on a 5-year contract and a bigger team comes in for them, then that player is infinitely more valuable than what they were if they were on their last year of their contract. See, that's when like the contract years and whatnot comes into play. But I don't know. And when it comes to power, I think the club should always be bigger than the player. But you have, I also fight. I'm also on the team of players' rights too. Like, players should get paid. They are the moneymaker. So pay your players what they deserve. I'm not a fan of agents. However, I think agents are probably the worst people in the world. Some of them. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't know where I actually fully sit on the whole thing. Good question.
Yeah, no, I think it is interesting because it's like players, obviously, like in the real world, you kind of have a choice of where you want to work. You can choose. It's somewhat like, okay, I want to go work in California. Well, I can leave my job here in Georgia and make that go happen. Like, you sort of have that choice. And when you're a free agent, you essentially have the freedom to choose. But it's just interesting. You don't really have too much control over your career. Like, especially if you get drafted in the American sports, out of college, you get drafted to the Cleveland Browns. Well, you're stuck there for the first 3 years of your playing career until you sign a new contract or leave on free agency. And there's no guarantees of what happens after that. So it is interesting. It almost works in reverse to soccer. You talked about like a young player signing a 5-year deal, their value goes up. Well, a player like Kevin Durant's going to sign a $30-40 million deal for 3 or 4 years. And it's really hard to move a contract that big when you deal with salary caps and things. So it's like kind of an opposite thing. Well, how can we fit him into our particular salary cap situation, as well as getting value and picks or players to match it. So it is crazy how all that you have to work out and making deals and stuff. But in particular, I think I sort of land on just collaboration. I think players should be able to have a voice without being suppressed. But at the same time, like the Mbappe situation, I don't think should be existing where he's the one making decisions over the manager, like, taking penalties, the spot in the starting 11, all that. Like, that should not come down to the player. You have to earn that day in and day out, I think. And that's just kind of the workplace hierarchy in general. But yeah, kind of fun place I thought we could land real quick. But back to some transfer rumors. Everton getting the deal done with Brighton for Neil Mount. Is it how do you say his last name? Maupe. From the range of 15 and 20 million pounds, and Everton still has no wins this season. Not really making any splashes in the transfer market, except getting Maupe. But is the writing on the wall for their downward spiral to the championship, or just the Premier League seller, guys? What's going to happen with Everton?
I'll start. Yes, I think the writing is on the wall. And if I would go back and redo my predictions, I think I'd put them in.
Wow.
In the relegation zone. There's only so much your crowd can give you. I'll just say that. You actually have to put good players on the field and set them up well enough to win games. Neil Maupay is more of like a prolific fighter rather than a prolific striker. So he's not going to get you very far, unfortunately. And I mean, again, I'd like for Everton to stay up. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Neil Maupay bags 18 goals, but he won't. And I just, they haven't brought, I don't know. They just haven't done enough. They have not done enough, and they're already going downhill, and they will continue to go downhill. I think it's a long season, but I think that's a pretty good overreaction though. I think they will go down. Oh.
Yeah. I don't think I'm worried about them, but I think the reason why they will stay up is because of their fans at Goodison Park. The atmosphere at these home games we saw towards the end of last year. It's very interesting when you're in a relegation battle, your fan base, in American sports, if the Braves are losing 100 games, fans are booing them. They're not supportive. But with English soccer, just European soccer in general, when you're talking about relegation, it really is have this feeling of life and death. So regardless if you're Everton and it's March, April, and every goal, every game is just a monumentous occasion. And that's interesting when it comes to momentum. And you're watching the table of other teams around you, but I don't know. I'll circle back, but I think that they'll be okay. Calvert-Lewin, if he can string one game together this season on 2 feet, that's an incredible player. Anthony Gordon coming into his own. I don't think they'll transfer him. I think the more losses that they've suffered with the transfer deadline being Thursday, he's staying put. I think they're going to realize how much they need him. And yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think Lampard will not be the coach by the end of the season. But maybe some January moves too. We have another window to improve the team, take stock. So, but yeah, I hope they stay up. They're a cool English club, and yeah, I think the reason why it won't be a coach won't even be Neil Maupay. It'll be the fans at Goodison Park.
And Brandon, you want to take this last big signing and rumor from this past week?
Sure. Manchester United, we always end up here in one way or another. They finally signed Anthony from Ajax for a reported 85 million pounds, which, yes, it is 100 million euros or dollars or want something. Finally, I guess. Does he make Man U better? Definitely. Is he worth that amount of money? I guess we'll find out. Probably not, but he has a lot of flair, a lot of talent. Very, very exciting player. And that's what they do at Man U. They buy very exciting players for overpriced and sort of hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, they still haven't gotten their value from Harry Maguire yet, spending 80 million pounds on him.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah, and there's been some weird rumors too revolving Ronaldo recently. Something about him going to Napoli and Victor Osimhen coming in reverse to Man U. Is there any credence in that, do we think? Do we believe that right now?
Steve, you take it.
No, yeah. I mean, I was listening to ESPN FC talk about it, and I heard this is the thing with rumors. I can just throw out a number and it's a rumor, right? I heard $130 million or something like that, along with Osimhen, to pay for Osimhen to come to Manchester United, with Ronaldo going to Napoli, and Manchester United paying 80% of Ronaldo's wages. Right?
That would be the steal of the century for Napoli.
So easy, right? That makes the most sense in the world. But this is real things that sports journalists are talking about. When you got a name like Ronaldo and an agent like Mendes, he's trying, right? Like this works out perfect for Ronaldo. He's playing Champions League football. But the Napoli has money to go spend in my players and But it's not going to happen. It is really interesting with this Antony signing when you have Rashford's been kind of tinkering with playing up the middle. So who does Antony take over for? Does he take over for a Sancho? Does he take over for Rashford? Does Rashford go back out on the wing? Is Ronaldo going to start? What's Elanga doing? Like, this is going to be, I guess if you're Ten Hag, a good problem to have, because you're going to be playing the best players, and he won't be forced to make choices on the team sheet out of like a scarcity mindset of not having talent. So Manchester United, good signing. Should be fun to watch.
And I'll say one last thing. Even though I think they've already been rumored to get Aubameyang, and I don't know where that stands actually, I wish Ronaldo would go to Chelsea. It would make it so juicy. I know Tuchel probably wouldn't want that ego in his locker room, but oh my God, Ronaldo in that blue and playing Champions League. Oh, that'd be insane. And he would score a lot of goals there. You know, you don't have to play what's his name, Havertz, as a false nine anymore. You can actually play a real striker.
And you can bury Christian Pulisic even further on the depth chart, too. Yeah. It works out.
Yeah. Of which they announced he's not leaving. I think today they announced he's not leaving. So
saw that.
Who knows what's happening over there at Chelsea? Well, hey, let's jump into the Premier League review from this past match week. At match week 4, gosh, how has it already been 4 games? It's just insane to me. We started off last week talking about the Brighton Leeds game. Brandon was looking forward to this one the most, and it turned out pretty much exactly what we expected it to be. Pascal Gross getting the only goal of the day in the 66th minute. I thought that it was going to be a 2-1 game, like having Leeds get on the board at least. Steven had this one right at 1-0. Brandon had 2-0. But yeah, Brighton and Leeds delivering in a pretty solid match, and Brighton continuing up to 4th in the table, I think, now. So they're hoping to stay up in a European competition. And if they made it to the Champions League, I mean, overcoming all those teams we just talked about, like Chelsea, Man U, would be an incredible feat, but unlikely. But hey, European 7th spot in the Conference League, not out of the question, especially this early in the season. Man City and Crystal Palace. Palace was in this one, honestly, for the first half. They got the early own goal from John Stones. Joachim Anderson in the 21st minute got the goal for Palace. And then it was just like, dunk, Man City turned on a switch. And in the 53rd minute, Bernardo Silva got a goal. Was that the De Bruyne assist? Where he or was
you might be thinking from a different game, from the Newcastle game.
And then Haaland, my guy. Y'all, I think, Brandon, you called this one. Coming in, getting the hat trick. Getting the hat trick. With the game ending 4-2 in favor of Manchester City. Just, guys, with Haaland leading this Man City team, are they going to become the new Invincibles? Like, could that actually happen again, a team not losing in the Premier League?
This Man City team, no, their defense is actually bad this year. I think they've leaked like 5 goals or something in the first 4 games. I'm sure they'll sure it up as the season goes on. But if they don't, that's not good. You don't want to be leaking goals in the back, even though you can score probably 20 per game with Haaland on the team. He's a machine, and he did it in 3 different ways. It wasn't just like all headers or from the, whatever. It's 3 different type of goals. It was just it was beautiful to watch, to be honest. I'm a Haaland fan. I'll say it.
Are you in love?
Maybe as the season goes on, we'll see. But I did give him some big credit in our season preview. So he might hit 30 this year. Who knows?
Brandon's lullaby is the Haaland. Love watching him streak down the field. Steve, you think there's any chance they could go undefeated this season at all?
I mean, there's always a chance, right? I don't think it'll happen, though. I think, again, just feeling out the vibes of this season, just like I desire for our fantasy football league, I want chaos. And I think chaos is what's going to happen this year in the Prem. City, I do think will win the title and do so, pretty healthily. But yeah, I'm with Brandon. As a U.S. fan, I'm hoping John Stones starts against the United States
and Harry Maguire.
Yeah, honestly. No, I mean, you look at City's defense with Cancelo, Rodri, like these guys, like God forbid they have any drop off and other players weren't as good as they thought they were. I don't know. Like, I think they'll definitely lose some games. I think Liverpool beat them in the preseason matchup, just preseason, but when Liverpool plays, City is going to hit different. Like when Man United, we saw Man United beat Liverpool. Like, it's why we love this league. And so I don't think City are that talented to be exempt from shockers this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think they can do it. Obviously, at this point, it's worth having that conversation because they've looked so dominant, just scoring a lot of goals, much like Arsenal has. They've actually stayed perfect. No draws, no losses. They got a win over Fulham. Hey guys, Mitrovic still scoring goals. Yeah. Gonna say it. He's on his way to 18.
Season.
But yeah, I think Arsenal finished this one off 2-1. Mitrovic getting his goal in the 56th minute at the fault of Gabriel. But it wasn't enough. Odegaard, he's continuing to produce, continuing to score goals.
He's so good.
And the Brazilian then came in, redeemed himself late in the 86th minute to win the game for Arsenal 2-1. The question being, how much longer can Arsenal stay perfect? They've looked strong. Jesus has looked fantastic. Yeah, Odegaard again is producing at a high level, being the guy that Real Madrid wishes he was when he was 14. How much longer can this Arsenal team stay perfect?
Until Wednesday, when the big, bad, tricky villains come into town and take a 1-0 win.
Hey, I hope so. I hope so for our sake and your sake.
They have to drop points at some point. I hope Villa can get a draw or a win. That'd be awesome. But that's me obviously being hopeful.
Is that Villa Park realistic. Or is it at the Emirates?
No, it's at the Emirates. So I actually don't. I mean, how much longer can they stay perfect? I don't know their schedule, but I'm going to be bold and say Aston Villa will give them the first non-win of the season.
My gosh.
I have to.
I think staying perfect. I mean, they could do a draw against Villa. I think they'll beat Villa, though. And then after that, they have Manchester United Sunday, September 4th. That's going to be early on one of the best games of the season so far. I'm excited about that. But even then, it's like I could see Arsenal picking apart Manchester United.
They're dangerous.
Then they got Brentford. Then they play Tottenham. So we know Tottenham's going to beat them and take 3 points. But they're good. I've been saying it every week. Arsenal's a very good team. Very good. Looking better than Liverpool. Looking better than Chelsea. Looking better or on the same pedigree kind of as Tottenham. And I think the way they win this game is also important to like note as well of making a silly mistake. Like anybody can do, but especially Arsenal. But finding the guts to come back and win at home, like God, there's no better feeling for a player than to right your wrong in such a dramatic fashion in front of your home crowd. Are you kidding me? That's confidence, right? So, and they're going to be riding that confidence in against Villa. And I think the game against Villa could be bad. It could be 3 goal difference bad, but we'll see.
Yeah. Like it was last year.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, Villa is taking on West Ham coming up soon too. Or sorry, they just took on West Ham. They haven't beaten West Ham since they've been back in the Premier League. Once again, did not happen this weekend. Y'all had a goal, I think, like the 56th minute or something like that off a corner. Was it Coutinho headed it to Konsa or something like that?
Maybe the other way. I don't know. Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah, those two connected, but it was off of the corner. The ball went over
out.
the end line, so it technically didn't count, which you never really see that often. You also don't see Coutinho use his head to score or assist a goal. So it's very unfortunate to have the loss go 1-0, especially. I did catch that one, but Brandon, at this point, I'll just leave this one to you. Who was to blame for Villa's problem? Is it the squad or the manager you're looking at?
It's tough. A lot of the Villa fans are freaking out and want Gerrard out, and rightly so. He's been awful in 2022, like absolutely horrible. And has not adjusted well. Doesn't know how to grind out games. The tactics seem like they should still be in Scotland. The Premier League is the best league in the world, and it's at just a totally different level than where he was coming from. So there's a lot of questions there. West Ham did get very lucky with an insane deflection from like 30 yards out.
Yeah,
it seemed like
it was bad. Unfortunate.
But yeah, it was just really unfortunate. But of course, you make your own luck, and that's sort of how it happened. Statistically, we haven't created a lot of chances at goal, but we spend a lot of time in the final third. So it's almost like if they can figure a couple things out, we might start scoring goals a little easier. This game, if you watched it, it had draw written all over it, to be honest. It was very much a stalemate. So a draw would have been a fair result. So it just sucks that it was a loss. And again, I go back to what I said and Steve said. You got to know how to draw games. That is on Steven Gerrard. It's on the players too, but that is on Steven Gerrard. Terrible substitutions that game. Took off Douglas Luiz, who was our best player on the day. And then after that, they literally score a goal in like the next couple minutes, occupying a space where Douglas Luiz would have been, where the shot was taken. Anywho, but I can rattle off a list of players who are not playing up to potential. Luca Digne, left back for France.
Yeah.
Matty Cash, right back for Poland. John McGinn, signed him for $3 million a couple years ago, looking like a $3 million player right now. Just a lot of change up. We don't know our best formation. Some of the players just aren't up to it. Like Coutinho hasn't really hit any stride yet. It's everybody, to be completely honest. It's everybody. But I think if I had to put a percentage to it, 75% probably lays on the manager, and that's not a good thing. He's not getting the best out of the players, not setting them up for success. Tactics are outdated and old and not progressive at all. If there are any tactics, sometimes if you watch the games, you have no idea what we're trying to do at all. You have no clue. Again, sorry, I don't know if you could hear that. Somebody's drag racing down my street. But yeah, I'd probably say most of it sits with the manager, and I'll get into my overreactions here shortly.
We can go ahead and jump into that if you want.
Okay,
spill the beans.
There's a segue there, and I will say if Steven Gerrard doesn't get at least 5 points from the next 4 games, which are away at Arsenal, like we just said, home at Man City, we played them really well at the end of the season last year, away at Leicester, who knows where they'll be in a couple games, and then home against Southampton. If we don't get 5 points, so that's 2 draws and a win, which I almost put 7 points here. Like he needs 7 points to not get fired. 5 points for the next 4 games. He will be sacked during that international break, which I think is September 23rd. And I don't know if this is really an overreaction. I don't know. Have you guys paid attention to any of this stuff, this drama?
Sort of. A little bit. I almost feel like you're in a race. That Leicester game might be the new El Sacico. much like
Definitely.
Manchester United and Tottenham was last season. The loser of that game might get the sack, whether it be Brendan Rodgers or Steven Gerrard. If the performances don't improve by that point, it's early in the season. It really is. 7 games in, and at that point, 8 games in. But if the direction of the club is going south, then it's hard to, find the positives from it, and you might just have to go a new direction, which Villa obviously does not want to do. They believed in Gerrard, bringing in players like Coutinho to help him out, and buying him fully is a commitment to what they saw his vision being. And at this point, Leicester has sort of had a steady decline with Brendan Rodgers, going from winning under Claudio Ranieri to then going to Champions League, to Europa League, to Conference League, and now potentially falling out to the bottom half of the table. So I think that game will be pivotal for both squads looking ahead. But yeah, Villa's got some stuff to figure out. They surely do.
Yeah, it's weird seeing the table and seeing, again, early on, but Nottingham Forest is above Villa right now. And Villa's on equal par right now with Bournemouth. Bournemouth has 3 points in their first 4 games in the Premier League, and so do Villa.
They beat Villa for their 3 points, by the way. Opening game of the season.
Yeah. So that's not a good sign of the times, right? So you expect more out of Villa. We talked about expectations of potentially kind of dipping their toe into Europe this year. Definitely top half of the table. So this is weird to talk about Villa with this, but honestly, I agree with you. 100% actually. 5 points out of the next 4 games. Because if you don't get that, you're at 7 points, 6 points out of your first 9 games in the Prem to start off the year. That's panic mode, and get it right, especially when you have the talent that you have. You're not, even though Nottingham Forest is balling out, but you're not a team that has a bad team. You don't have a bad team of players here. You have a lot of money on the field. You got to have those expectations high. You saw it with Tottenham. It's a coach thing. So hopefully that's not the case. Either Gerrard can get it right or, Pochettino de Villa can. So I don't know.
Gosh. I would love that. Unrealistic, I think, but
oh man,
enough about Villa.
That might be overstretching things. Steven, an overreaction from you. What would that pan out to be at this point, match week 4?
Arsenal top 4, punch the ticket. Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record on Arsenal. They're good. They're really good. The way they're winning games are good. Arteta's been there. He's not a new face. The players respect him. Good. Good young players. Good new signings. This is I think the writing is on the wall for Arsenal to finish top 4. I can't even sniff out any drama on this team. They got rid of that when they got rid of Aubameyang, And that's a huge thing that they did.
Lacazette.
Yeah, and Lacazette. And, Lacazette wanted to play Champions League football, so he left, right? It's the ego thing. It's yada, yada, yada. Odegaard doesn't care. Gabriel Jesus doesn't care. These are guys that want to be here, came from Manchester City, Real Madrid, and they got a good squad, man. So, yeah, I think Arsenal will finish top 4. Who they knock out, I don't know. But my reaction is that they will make top 4. And different subject to going back to Haaland, I think Haaland's going to score 30 goals. You see this frantic Manchester City that goes down by 2 goals or gives up 3 goals against Newcastle. They could score even more goals. Healthy De Bruyne this year, this is a team, there's no question mark up top. There's no Aguero. There's no Jesus. There's no false 9, weird things. They got rid of Sterling. Haaland's going to be the guy. Haaland will score so many goals this year, and it's going to be amazing to watch.
I totally agree. Yeah, they've set the bar high at this part of the season, scoring goals, especially him. I don't know, what's the record? Did we say the most goals in a Premier League season? Is it
33? Salah?
I think it's 32 by Salah a couple years ago, yeah.
Can he in his first year break the Premier League goal record, you guys think?
It's definitely
I will cut it there. I'll cut it there. I think he'll hit 30. I think
30?
that's my overreaction for now. To break the record in your first year in the Premier League, will I put it past him? No. But I don't think he'll do it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
You're saying there's a chance.
chance.
My overreaction is this, and I'm not saying it's like a season-long thing. I'm just thinking early on, my overreaction is that Richarlison will take Heung-min Son's spot in the starting 11. A wild statement, I know. And then it's crazy because Sonny just came off winning the Golden Boot in joint with Mo Salah in the 2021-22 season. But Richarlison has looked hungry. He's looked furious on the field. He's just been a dog. Like, yeah, he's been even showboating a little bit, doing some keepy-uppies and then losing possession on a foul. But hey, I'm liking his hunger. I'm liking his ability to create just something out of nothing. Literally, just that playmaker in him has been so great to show on the field. And I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes we see him in the starting 11 over Sonny. Having Kulusevski, Kane, and Richarlison on the field at the same time is an amazing three, even considering Sonny on the bench. So overreaction is we might see a little bit more of him on the field than we do Sonny in the coming games because of Sonny's lack of production to start out.
Hot take.
It is a hot take. I'm not asking for it. I'm not really believing for it. I'm just thinking that's an overreaction that Conte might make that adjustment in the coming days, especially against West Ham. Maybe he'll take a chance on Richarlison, especially after his beautiful inside the boot.
God, that assist was so nice. God, it was so nice.
So, mark my words. If you see Richarlison in the starting 11 and you do not see Sonny, I'm just saying it's not a big overreaction. It's facts. But we're rolling into match week 5. We had some midweek games, so pay attention on the Wednesday schedule, the Thursday schedule, because Liverpool and Newcastle are playing. Liverpool just came off a 9-0 thrashing of Bournemouth. My goodness. That was ugly for Bournemouth. I mean, they could do nothing right on the day. I don't even know if they came close to scoring. They might have had one chance that was decent, but it was just like unreal. Salah didn't even score a goal. He looked almost non-existent on the field, which is funny because I've heard on, everyone talking about their fantasy Premier League stuff that everyone had Salah being captain, expecting him to get a hat trick or something against Bournemouth. But yeah, he was not even on the score sheet.
Good job, Bournemouth defense right there.
Yeah, they did shut someone down today. They just put all their resources into him and not everyone else. Harvey Elliott had a nice goal. I don't know if you guys saw that from outside the box.
Yeah, there's a couple nice goals in the day.
So yeah, there was a couple in between, but we're talking about Liverpool and Newcastle. It's been 7 years since Newcastle's even beaten Liverpool. They've drawn 4 times since then. Are we really riding on much in this game? We're kind of thinking Liverpool just ride over Newcastle pretty easily.
I think Newcastle is unbeaten on the year. And I think they will go take it to Liverpool again. I think they will show up and they'll go fight. Middle of the week games are sort of interesting. And I wonder how that'll affect Liverpool, to be honest. Newcastle, they have aspirations for Europe and they're really showing out right now. So they did against Man City, who I think is a lot better than Liverpool this year. I think they could go do the same thing here this week. So it could be a draw. I don't know if Newcastle could win the game, but they definitely could. But Liverpool could also. It's really up in the air, but I would not count Newcastle out.
Do we know if Nunez will be back for this game, or is he still suspended one more? I think he's still suspended one more.
There's a 3-game suspension.
Yeah. With that being said, I think it'll be a point shared. It's at Anfield, which is something to take into account, but Newcastle's not a pushover, and they're going to be coming off that point. That's going to feel like a win against City. They might even be walking away from that game like, whoa, what if we stole that 3 points? We could have been there, very much. So I think Liverpool has taken their frustrations out like a drunk frat boy on a cooler with a baseball bat against Bournemouth. And that was something to see. But Newcastle is not the thing that can't fight back, right? So it's interesting to see about the new signing coming in. So we'll see. But I think it'll be a point shared.
Good call on that. I don't disagree. West Ham, they play London rivals Tottenham Hotspur. Over the past couple of years, it's been pretty tight. Only 2 draws, though. My least favorite draw was that freaking 3-3 one during the pandemic. West Ham coming back from 3-0 with like 10 minutes to play. Lanzini scoring that unreal goal, just blasting it to the top left corner. But they just came off of a win over Villa. Does David Moyes come into this game with confidence against Tottenham, or is Tottenham, who've been rolling pretty well this season, do they come into this one feeling strong and get the win over West Ham, Brandon?
I think it'll be a close game, as it always is. West Ham's a tough team, but they've only scored 1 goal, and like I said earlier, by extreme luck, they do not look a threat going forward at all. I don't know if you guys have given up many goals this year. Your defense seems pretty sound. So
I think we gave up 2 to Chelsea. That was the most we gave up.
Yeah, I think you'll keep a clean sheet here. And with the way your forwards can just get something out of nothing, I could see a 2-0 Tottenham win here.
Yeah, I'm going to go a step further and say 3-0. I think this is Tottenham's – it's a huge opportunity right now. Arsenal has the pressure on. I guess you can't really say that they have the pressure on when they're top of the table. But as far as the finish from last year, Arsenal has the pressure on Tottenham right now, and this could be a huge game to stamp what they're about, going away, taking care of business at West Ham. It's always been a great game. I'm reminded of the Heung-min Son banger goal and Jay Rodriguez banger goal. I think it was like 3 minutes apart from one another. They're both like over 30 yards out of the box. It was amazing. But yeah, I think Tottenham, to Brandon's point, defense is actually looking pretty good. So I'm going to ride that confidence. I'm with Conte, and I think Tottenham gets it done 3-0, and I think Son quiets Cole Carter and gets on the score sheet.
I hope so. I do hope so. It's mentally one of those hurdles in games that I think I talked about the Chelsea one, where we had not beaten or drawn or done anything with Chelsea and just like had really struggled against them. We lost like 4 or 5 times against them last year. And I said that this Tottenham team has to evolve and has to put games away or has to beat and take care of a team that they're supposed to take care of. And so West Ham, I think, sort of falls into that category. They're not a pushover, but they're a team that we should be able to beat. I think we've shown our ability to score on them and beat David Moyes' teams. We just have been lackluster in putting them away a couple of times. And so that's the defining factor, is potentially for their season, is what Tottenham team is going to show up. Are they going to show up as a new rebuilt Antonio Conte team? They're going to be old Tottenham, the Spursy one. And so I hope they come out with a win. I hope you're right, Steve. I hope Sonny can get on the score sheet. But I wouldn't be surprised if we stumble over the block on this one, even get a loss. That would not surprise me, but I'm not hoping for that.
What's your prediction? Give me a score line, you ambiguous boy.
I'll go ahead and say 1-0 West Ham. I just have a weird feeling. I mean, if I'm just predicting something, I don't want it to be that. But it just depends on what time's going to show up. We've shown to be pretty strong this season, but at the same time, we could have put our last game away a little bit more than we did. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens against West Ham.
Well, I mean, look, 1-0 for West Ham, 1-0 for Villa, same. We'll do you guys a favor this week.
Oh my gosh. The last game on the docket for the Premier League that you guys think you should be keeping an eye on is Leicester City and Man United. Leicester is in the bottom of the table, sitting there close with Wolves, staying warm with one another, the Foxes and the Wolves. Not quite the Fox and the Hound, but, it works.
Oh, my God.
But Man United has dominated this meeting in the past couple of years, from 2016 to 2020. Leicester has been unbeaten the past 2, though, beating them in the FA Cup quarterfinal in 2021, 2 times in the league as well as a draw. So Leicester, hungry for their first win this season. Man United's looking strong after that embarrassing loss that was 4-0. Could this be Leicester's first win this season? Do we expect that from them?
They've had Manchester United's number for a little bit now, but this team is not playing to that level. I still think they could get their first win though. I really do. It's at Leicester. It'll be something like 2-1. I guess I'll predict that 2-1 Leicester. But it'll be a fun one. I think it would be definitely one to watch.
I'm going to swing the opposite direction. Manchester United keeps it rolling with 3 wins in a row, enter the Europe conversation, into the top 6. And just like that, United's season is not off to a horrible start. I got a 3-1 win over Leicester. And maybe even a Ronaldo let's go boys post afterwards on his Instagram. I don't know. It's crazy. We've been talking about how these early games are important and how quick things can change and swing different directions. United's looked pretty good these past couple games. Leicester City does not. And this whole drama with Fofana, like, bam, another blow, is kind of the way I'm looking at it. Anthony, new blood. Casemiro, new blood coming into the team. And again, with these renaissance of last year of Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford, it feels like United's made even more signings. I think they got a lot of things to be excited about, and I hope they keep it rolling. And I think they're going to take care of Leicester pretty handily.
I think Ronaldo gets on the score sheet, and I think he's the difference maker. I think it's probably a 2-1 win for Man U, the super sub coming in and scoring and fighting his way back into the team if he's going to stick around. I think he'll be putting his name back in the hat, which is, what are you going to say?
So that begs the question, another person that's left off the starting 11, will he ever get his spot back? And that's Harry Maguire. How does he get back into the team?
He certainly won't be taking Martinez's spot. And that just leaves Varane. If Varane stumbles, I don't know. This also might be a game where Ten Hag switches things up, being Leicester City. Being that they're on the bottom part of the table, he might switch it up to bring Maguire back in for Varane.
I was just getting ready to say, if you're Ten Hag, I think you're real smart to start Maguire. It shouldn't be that big of a test. So it's kind of like, when to get a guy confidence, you want to put him in a low stress situation. Because at the end of the day, like, even if Maguire's not going to be an out and out starter, right? Like, if we're going to buy into this Martinez taking over his position kind of role or whatever, you still need Maguire to be sharp and be on when called upon. And it's a great thing to kind of boost his ego back up. Look at your old team. Look where you've been. Look who you're playing with now. And so I think it'd be a good move to start Maguire against Leicester. Get that fire going.
I think you're 100% right, Steve. Well, yeah, that is mostly what we have covering for the Premier League. We love getting a chance to talk about it, covering all those games. Definitely ones to watch. Hopefully the results are favorable to what we predicted, but you never know. That's just how the Premier League is. It's unpredictable, and that's what makes it so fun to watch. Bottom teams can beat top teams, and those ones in the middle are certainly draws that are fun to watch. Well, hey, we'll give you guys a quick recap of our MLS Fast 5 from the weekend. Austin FC and LAFC took on one another. Austin FC took this one 4-1. Not even close. Gareth Bale made his first start for LAFC, and he made no difference. And there's a little bit of a scuffle, some drama, some tension, but that Austin FC crowd was incredible. Sold it out that stadium. And guys, Austin FC feels a lot like that 2018 Atlanta United team, where this might be their year to win MLS Cup in their second season. What do you guys think?
I agree. They could do it.
Yeah.
They are hot. They can score goals out of nothing, out of nowhere. They're very fast. They play at a great tempo. Why not? And they
Why
have
not?
basically the same jerseys as Atlanta United from that year.
I know, just green and black instead of red and black. I do think it's really, really nice and looks clean. Yeah, I had them tying 3-3. Brandon had that one 5-4, 2-3 in favor of LAFC. Steve had, so we had a high scoring game, but obviously this one was heavily favored towards Austin FC. Portland and Seattle was 2-1 Portland at the end of the day. The Cascadia derby. I had Seattle winning 2-1. Brendan had a 2-2 draw, and Steve had a 2-2 draw as well. Not hitting the mark on that one for the boys, but Portland not missing the mark themselves, getting 3 important points in the West. Cincinnati, Columbus ended in a 2-2 draw. All of us missing the mark once again. I thought that Cincy would get the 1-0 win. Brendan had a 2-1. Steven also concluding the same, and it was a 2-2 draw between the two Ohio teams. Brandon, he missed a stunner. Brendan Vasquez once again getting on the score sheet, and we'll see what happens the next time that they see one another. Maybe in the playoffs might be the time that they get a chance to play one another again. Orlando took on NYCFC and won 2-1. Brandon and Steven chose the right winner. I had a 1-1 draw. Brandon 1-0 to Orlando, and Steven got the scoreline identically correct. And Atlanta United at home against DC United. Wayne Rooney making his visit to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I had a 4-1 win. Brendan had a 3-1. Steven as well. And this one ended 3-2 for Atlanta United to get 3 important points in the race in the East. And guys, is Atlanta United on track to make the playoffs?
On track.
So
on track, the answer is a short no. But it was as I was putting together the MLS Fast 5 recap to see what we were all talking about. I was listening to our last episode, and we all sounded so confident. I was like, yeah, we know we're going to win. And we ended up winning this game, but not nearly as convincing as any three of us thought. We already thought Atlanta United was poor. And then coming out of this game, you almost feel worse about the team, even though you win.
Yeah, it was definitely weird to watch.
Thank goodness for Parata. Our 3-headed goals, though. That was fun. We had 3-headed goals. Didn't score with their feet. Josef Martinez jumped up like Ronaldo. Mean mugged the crowd. Does he start next week? I don't know.
That knee's looking good, getting up, getting those bunnies.
Mm-hmm. Please.
We'll take the protection from him. Oh, man, I'm hoping he'll stay around and get hot.
We're so bad.
Hey, anything can happen.
There's a chance.
Playoffs are around the corner, and you just got to believe, Steve. Got to believe, Steve.
Not mine, though.
It's true. That's why you're a bad fan. That's why this podcast exists, is for fans like Steven. That's going to wrap up today. All the things on the bad fan, whether it be soccer, talking about tennis and golf, anything in between. We hope that you've enjoyed our coverage of things like the Premier League and all the sports around the world. Becoming a bad fan is easy to help support the channel. You can subscribe and click the bell below this video. That way you're always notified of new videos and anything going on in the world of the bad fan. You can find and interact with us on Twitter and Instagram and in the comments below this video. Give us your hot takes. Give us your predictions. Maybe even share with a friend and let them in on what's going on with the bad fan and get them to watch some videos. But that's going to be it for us today. I've been Cole Carter. They've been Brennan and Steven. We'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy the midweek games. Enjoy sports and the upcoming Labor Day weekend if you don't see us on Friday. Until then, peace out, guys, and enjoy.